Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? You know, lately I've been talking a lot about the welterweight division and what I like to call the Fantastic Three. The Fantastic Three, to me, is Mayweather, Shawn Porter, and Keith Thurman. But then there's a fourth fighter as well, and that's Manny Pacquiao. Now, I know a lot of you guys, a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans, you feel that I just give Manny Pacquiao a very hard time, right? You want to know how come I don't give him the same credit that I would give other fighters in the welterweight division. Well, you guys are in luck right now because I'm about to tell you and I'm about to break it down for you right now. Now, what you Pacquiao fans have to understand before I go any further, there is a difference between talking about who you like and telling the truth. Okay? There's a big difference. Let's get into some truth. Now, I'm going to drop some scenarios, Pacquiao fans, and I want you to be honest with yourself and your heart. Once again, I don't really care what you type because, see, I understand the psychology of ignorance. I understand that a lot of times these type of fans, they type stuff that they don't truly believe. It's kind of like giving themselves a pep talk to make them feel better about the reality of the situation. So let me go ahead and give you guys scenario number one. Let's take Floyd Mayweather, for example, Manny Pacquiao's nemesis, right? Let's imagine Floyd Mayweather, he just fought Marcos Maidana. Let's just imagine in that fight, Floyd Mayweather, he got staggered. Now, he wasn't seriously hurt, but he got staggered, right? Nevertheless, Floyd Mayweather, he comes back from being staggered. The fight is still very close, but eventually he starts to pull away and he wins the fight, all right? Now we move on to the post-fight conference. Floyd Mayweather just won his fight. Floyd Mayweather Sr., Floyd Mayweather's trainer, he goes to the podium and he says, Maidana, he really hurt Mayweather in, let's just say, the fourth round. And then a couple days later, Floyd Sr., he makes somewhat of a shocking statement and he tells the media that I'm going to ask my son, Floyd Mayweather, to move down to 140. Because these welterweights, they may be too strong for my son. I think he'll be stronger at 140. Now, Manny Pacquiao fans, I want you to be very honest in your heart right now. If everything that I just said right now, if it were true and it really took place, what would you think about Floyd Mayweather as opposed to all the other welterweights in his division? You would say, well, his trainer just said that he doesn't even think that he's strong enough to compete with these guys at 147. So how can I take him serious at the welterweight division? That's what you would most likely say if you know anything about boxing, right? Once again, if you're talking straight from your heart and you're being honest with yourself, that's pretty much what you would say, okay? Now, we know that that was a scenario that I just made up when it comes to Floyd Mayweather. But the reality of it is, this is exactly what Freddie Roach said about his fighter, Manny Pacquiao. Freddie Roach, he would go to the post-fight conference, immediately following the Bradley fight. He said that Tim Bradley, he really hurt Manny Pacquiao, and I believe it was the fourth or fifth, whatever round. And then a couple of days later, Freddie Roach would say, I'm going to ask Manny Pacquiao to move down in weight because these welterweights, they may be too big for Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao will be stronger at a smaller weight. So the truth and the point of this all is, even though Manny Pacquiao, he just got a big win over an undefeated fighter in his prime that was considered pound for pound number 4, Tim Bradley, even though Manny Pacquiao just did that, after he beats him, Manny Pacquiao's own trainer, Freddie Roach, he basically suggests that maybe Tim Bradley was too strong for Manny Pacquiao. And if Freddie Roach thought that Tim Bradley was too strong for Manny Pacquiao, then we know what he thinks about Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, and Marcos Maidana, or even Canelo Alvarez, right? Now, let me give you scenario number 2. And once again, Pacquiao fans, I need you to be honest in your heart. You could go ahead and type whatever you want later on, but just be honest right now is all that matters to me. Okay? We already know when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, the detractors are always trying to nitpick and find anything they can to criticize Floyd Mayweather with his perfect record. For example, people go all the way back to a Castillo fight that was damn near 10 years ago. Even though Floyd Mayweather came back and beat him in a rematch, people still want to have something negative to say, right? Floyd Mayweather gives the fans the fight that they claim that they wanted to see because people say, oh, Floyd is not fun and exciting and he doesn't fight, wars in the ring or whatever the case may be. All of a sudden, Floyd Mayweather, he gets in the ring, he fights that kind of fight with Maidana, and people still criticize him. Then people say, oh, well, that showed that he's not a flawless fighter. He got hit too much, etc., etc. So Floyd can't win for losing, right? Now, just keep that in mind. We're about to get into this scenario. Now, if Floyd Mayweather was criticized for having a close fight with Castillo and coming back and beating him like a real champion is supposed to do, and then he gets criticized for the Marcos Maidana fight, imagine if Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Miguel Cotto, he actually lost to Miguel Cotto. A lot of people believe that Floyd Mayweather won, but they gave the decision to Miguel Cotto. First of all, even if Floyd Mayweather got robbed, people would be so happy they wouldn't care that he got robbed. They would say, no, it's an L. They just want to see his face when he loses. So imagine if Floyd Mayweather lost to Miguel Cotto, right? Then Floyd Mayweather comes back, he gives Marquez a rematch, and Marquez knocks out Floyd Mayweather cold in the 5th round. Imagine that, Pacquiao fans. So now Floyd Mayweather has 2 losses on his record. Manny Pacquiao, he's still winning. Manny Pacquiao hasn't had a loss at all. Matter of fact, Manny Pacquiao, he beat the guy very easy that Floyd Mayweather got knocked out by, right? Imagine that scenario. You guys know, if you're being honest with yourself, you already know that no matter how many wins Floyd Mayweather gets from that point on, you would say Floyd Mayweather losing twice and getting knocked out once while Manny Pacquiao is still unbeaten. It proves that Manny Pacquiao is on a whole nother level. And not only that, but it also proves that Floyd Mayweather is not on the level of the rest of these undefeated welterweights in the division. Now, obviously, we know that never happened to Floyd Mayweather. That was a fiction scenario, right? But guess what? Everything that I just said right now, that actually happened to Manny Pacquiao. So when you hear me talking about the Fantastic Three, Floyd Mayweather, Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, and you say to me, Dante, that is biased. How come you're not adding Manny Pacquiao onto that list? This is the exact reason why I'm not adding him onto that list. Why? Because Manny Pacquiao's own trainer doesn't even believe that he can compete with the fighters at 147, at least the young, strong, hungry ones. He doesn't believe he can compete. Even though he just came off of a good win against Tim Bradley, he doesn't believe that he can compete with the rest of the young lions. Now you want to say, Dante, how come when Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, Guillermo Rigo, when they're pound for pound the best fighters in the world, you're giving them all kind of credit. You're praising them. How come you don't praise Floyd? How come you don't praise Manny Pacquiao once he beats a guy who's pound for pound number 4 the best fighter in the world? How come you're not giving him the same credit that you give Rigo, Andre Ward, and Floyd Mayweather? I'll answer that question, guys. Now, let's be realistic about this. If I were to ask you right now, when it comes to Rigo, for example, who can beat Rigo? Let's say Abner Mares was still undefeated and he's still at 122. You got Abner Mares. You got Leo Santa Cruz. You got a possible rematch with Nonito Donaire. If I were to ask you which one of those guys could beat Rigo, you would most likely say probably none of them, right? You would say that. You would say probably none of those guys. I think Rigo, if you know anything about boxing, you're most likely going to say Rigo would have a good chance of beating all those guys. Matter of fact, we know this to be the case when we don't even hear too many fans of Leo Santa Cruz, Mares, or whoever else saying we want to see Rigo versus Mares. We want to see Rigo versus Donaire rematch. We want to see this, we want to see that. You don't hear them say that. In fact, it's quite the contrary. You hear them say, oh, there's no reason for my guy to fight Rigo. So what does a response like that suggest? It suggests the obvious, which is they do not believe that their fighter can beat Rigo, right? Same thing with Andre Ward. If I were to ask you right now, who do you think could beat Andre Ward? Gennady Golovkin, Adonis Stevens, Kovalev or whatever. Now, no doubt all of those, fighters would give Andre Ward a good fight. But if you find out tomorrow that Andre Ward signed a contract to fight any one of those guys, I could almost assure you, deep down in your heart, you would believe that Andre Ward would win that fight, right? This is how dominant fighters like Rigo and Andre Ward they are. When it comes to Floyd Mayweather, even the Floyd Mayweather haters, they are praising Floyd Mayweather and they don't even realize it. That's how ignorant they are. When you post messages saying Floyd Mayweather, he only fights guys that he knows that he can beat. He only fights guys if he knows that it is a guaranteed win. You say that, and then when we sit back and we think of the fighters that he faced, Canelo Alvarez, and then you think to yourself, wait a minute, Canelo is about to fight Lara. And many people believe that Canelo is going to beat Erislandy Lara, right? So what does that say about Floyd Mayweather? According to the Mayweather haters, it suggests that what's supposed to be difficult for Erislandy Lara is so easy for Floyd Mayweather that it's a guaranteed win. Isn't that pretty much the highest praise you can give any fighter? Floyd Mayweather, everyone he faces is a guaranteed win. But wait a minute. So that means that Floyd Mayweather is so good, he can fight Marquez one time and it's a guaranteed win? Floyd Mayweather only picks easy fights? So how come Marquez was never easy for Manny Pacquiao? How come even if Manny Pacquiao were to fight Marquez right now, it would not be considered an easy fight? It would be considered a 50-50 fight, right? Now, the Manny Pacquiao fan right now, you would say, well, what about Miguel Cotto? Manny Pacquiao did better against Cotto than Floyd Mayweather did, right? But if you're going to make the comparison of Mayweather versus Cotto as opposed to Pacquiao versus Marquez, then the scenario has to be the exact same way. And what that means is you would have to give Floyd Mayweather 4 fights against Miguel Cotto. And the question is, if Floyd Mayweather were to fight Miguel Cotto 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, I think it's fair to say we all know that every single time Mayweather fights Cotto, he would beat him easier and easier every single time. We already know that because we know that Floyd Mayweather is the master at adjusting to opponents, right? So once again, why did Manny Pacquiao fight Marquez 4 times and he still can't get it right? He still can't get it. Even after 4 times, he still can't get it right. So you can't make the comparison, oh, what about Pacquiao versus Hatton or this and that? The bottom line is Manny Pacquiao, he fought Marquez 4 times and he's still struggling to beat him. So, going back, I'm getting a little off subject from the point I wanted to make. But going back to when I was telling you about Rigo, Andre Ward, and Floyd Mayweather, the point that I was making is you put these guys, you match these guys up against anybody in their division, and most likely you're going to give the edge to Andre Ward, Guillermo Rigo. If there was talks of Floyd Mayweather fighting Marquez in a rematch right now, who would you guys pick to win that fight very easy? You guys already know that Floyd Mayweather would win that fight very easy, don't you guys? You know it'll be 12 rounds to 0. Now, once again, answer the questions with your heart, not with what you type on YouTube comment section. If Floyd Mayweather were to have a rematch with Marcos Maidana or Canelo Alvarez, who would you pick to win those fights? Deep down in your heart, you would pick Floyd Mayweather to win those fights, right? Now let's look at Manny Pacquiao. This is where it gets interesting, all right? Let's put Pacquiao up against Marquez for a 5th fight. You would say that's a 50-50 fight, wouldn't you? You would not say, oh, Manny Pacquiao wins that fight for sure. That is a 50-50 fight. We have to take into consideration that Marquez already has the edge, that he just knocked out Manny Pacquiao. That alone may possibly make Manny Pacquiao gun-shy. But not only that, but even if he's not knocking him out, for the most part, we know that Marquez was very successful at outboxing Manny Pacquiao in all 4 of the fights that they fought against each other, right? The point that I'm making is Floyd Mayweather fights Marquez in a rematch. You guys already know that Floyd Mayweather wins that fight easy. Manny Pacquiao fights Marquez in a 5th fight. We already know that that is life and death for Manny Pacquiao. It's a 50-50 fight, right? Now let's go to Canelo Alvarez. If Manny Pacquiao were to fight against Canelo Alvarez, like I told you, even you guys, with the comments that you guys left, even Manny Pacquiao fans know that that would be a fight that Manny Pacquiao would most likely lose, right? Once again, I go back to the comments that Freddie Roach made. Freddie Roach, he believes that the fighters at 147 may be too strong and too big for Manny Pacquiao. So we know what Freddie Roach thinks about Canelo going against Manny Pacquiao. And then we move on to Marcos Maidana. Is Marcos Maidana a guaranteed win for Manny Pacquiao? You know that you would be lying if you told me that that was a guaranteed win. In fact, I'll go on record right now and tell you, I think that Manny Pacquiao would lose that fight and possibly get knocked out against Marcos Maidana. And then you put Manny Pacquiao up against Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. I think, once again, truly in your heart, you know that Manny Pacquiao would most likely not win any of those fights. Let's go over all the names that I just mentioned in contrast to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, rematch against Canelo, we know what would happen. Floyd Mayweather, rematch against Marquez, we know what would happen. Mayweather against Marcos Maidana rematch, we have a very good idea of what would happen. So once again, you put Manny Pacquiao against those same three fighters that I just mentioned, Canelo, Marquez, Maidana, we all know that Pacquiao could possibly lose those fights or struggle very bad. He has a chance of winning, but we know he does not have anywhere near the chance that Mayweather has of winning. So the point that I'm making to you guys is, when you guys say, you know, why don't you give Manny Pacquiao the credit that he deserves now that he beat a Tim Bradley? Well, I can't do that. I can't do that because just because you beat a pound-for-pound fighter, it doesn't always suggest that you are now pound for pound number 2, number 3, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to tell you something right now. If I'm not sure that you could beat anybody in the top 3, top 5 of the division, how do I see you as one of the best fighters in the world? Or at least top 3, top 4, one of the best fighters in the world. Once again, I go back to the point I was making when I said, when it comes to Rigo, when it comes to Andre Ward, I would expect, and you guys would expect, them to beat all of the top-notch guys in their division. But when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, we can't guarantee he's going to beat Marquez, Maidana, or Canelo Alvarez. We can't, and I know he's in a different division, but I'm talking in contrast to the fact that Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo easy. And you haters were saying that everyone that Floyd Mayweather fights is just an easy fight that was a guaranteed win for Floyd Mayweather, which makes him look pretty good if you think about the fact that everyone else is fighting his opponents and they're struggling, like Lara against Canelo, etc., etc. So the Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley win was a very good win for Manny. But once again, if his own trainer doesn't feel comfortable with him staying at the welterweight division, how can I sit here and give Manny Pacquiao the same credit that I would give everyone else at the welterweight division? It doesn't make sense, does it? When Roy Jones Jr. was the pound-for-pound king, best fighter in the world, who beat him? It was Antonio Tarver, right? And when Antonio Tarver beat him, did he become pound-for-pound number 1, the best fighter in the world? No, he didn't. Because even though he beat pound-for-pound the best fighter in the world, he had to prove that it wasn't just a fluke. He had to prove that it wasn't just Roy Jones that he could beat. He had to prove that he was dominant in that division, and he couldn't do it, okay? And the scenario is similar with Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao beat a fighter that was pound-for-pound number 4 in the world. But once again, if I were to ask you the questions, who would Manny Pacquiao beat for sure out of Marcos Maidana, Marquez, Canelo Alvarez, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, you would say nobody. Now, if it was just 1 or 2 fighters that we could say we don't know if he'll beat that guy, like Floyd Mayweather, for example, there's no guarantee Floyd Mayweather would beat a Keith Thurman or a Sean Porter. But like I said, when it comes to Maidana, Marquez, Canelo, and anyone else, I think we can all agree Floyd Mayweather has a very good chance of winning those fights. So once again, guys, you wanted to know how come I don't give Manny Pacquiao the same credit that I give Mayweather and other pound-for-pound champions. This is the exact reason why. Because I do not feel comfortable putting my money on Manny Pacquiao against any of the top 5 best fighters in the welterweight division, or above, okay? But when it comes to fighters like Mayweather, Andre Ward, Guillermo Rigo, I feel very comfortable putting my money on those guys, at least for the majority of the opponents that they would face. So I know your next question is going to be, what would Manny Pacquiao have to do, in your opinion, to get the credit that he deserves? And my answer to that would be, Manny Pacquiao would have to go in the ring with one of these young lions and dominate them. For example, get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, dominate Canelo like Floyd Mayweather dominated him, or do it even better, okay? That's what he would have to do. Now, I know Pacquiao fans, now you're going to say, well, Dante, Manny Pacquiao did beat a young lion. He beat Tim Bradley, right? Now, I give credit when credit is due, okay? And one of the most analytical guys on YouTube that breaks down boxing to a T is Dwyer, okay? And Dwyer, he said exactly what I was thinking when I was watching his post-fight video of Pacquiao versus Bradley 2, which was, I think this was more of Bradley losing the fight than Manny Pacquiao winning the fight, if you guys understand what that means. That is the best way to sum it up as far as I'm concerned. The reason why I say that is because this fight started off very competitive, okay? The first three rounds went back and forth. And then it seemed to me like from 4 on, it looked like Bradley started to slowly pull away, and he started to win rounds. He started to look comfortable. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, around the 7th round, we know something happened to Tim Bradley, because all of a sudden, Tim Bradley, he started putting his hands down, and he started trying to throw one punch at a time, trying to do nothing but knock out Manny Pacquiao. So we know something happened to him. Matter of fact, the situation, or that fight, remind me of the Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe 3 fight, the 3rd fight that they had, where Holyfield, he starts off outboxing Riddick Bowe for the first 4 rounds, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Holyfield comes out of the next round, and he just starts going toe-to-toe with the much bigger Riddick Bowe, and he's not taking a step back. Remember, before this, he was boxing, and he was winning the rounds. So all of a sudden, he goes from that to trying to fight toe-to-toe with Riddick Bowe, and Riddick Bowe catches him with a right hand, and Riddick Bowe knocks him out. Later on, Holyfield would say that he felt something, like he had some kind of heart problem. He knew he had nothing left anymore. So because he had some type of health issue, he just said, I'm going out this next round, and I'm either knocking him out or he's going to knock me out, because I know I can't go to 12 rounds, right? And that is pretty much the exact same situation that we seen with Bradley and Manny Pacquiao. Bradley, he had something going on, and he knew he couldn't go the whole 12 rounds, so he just put everything on the line. He was willing to go out on a shield, and he was like, I'm either going to knock this guy out or he's going to knock me out, and that's what we seen with Tim Bradley. So the point that I'm making is, I don't really believe that Manny Pacquiao just won the fight. I believe that Tim Bradley, it was more of Tim Bradley losing the fight, okay? I mean, it kind of sucks for Manny Pacquiao, because he was robbed a complete victory, in my opinion, because something happened to Tim Bradley. So the point that I'm making is, I want to see Manny Pacquiao go in there with one of these young undefeated lions, or they don't even have to be undefeated, but one of these young, hungry lions that are 100% healthy through the 12 rounds of the fight. When I see Manny Pacquiao beat a guy like that in a dominant fashion, I'm going to give Manny Pacquiao all of the credit in the world, okay? So that's pretty much my breakdown on why I don't give Manny Pacquiao the same credit that I would give a Floyd Mayweather or anyone else on the pound-for-pound list, top 3, top 4. All right, guys, that's all I got to say. I'm on to the next one.